Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's edition of NASCAR 07 on the channel. We are at the Michigan International Speedway for tonight's race, the 3M Performance 400. And it is race number 15 of 36 on the season, and of course 15 of 26 on the regular season before, of course, we get into the chase. As far as our season so far, it has been spectacular, but the intermediate tracks are definitely the toughest for us. Last night at Pocono, again, third place finish, just can't quite break through to winning the race. And in that instance, we were in the top two pretty much. I wouldn't say the entirety of the race because we started at the back and it did take me a minute to get up to that. I think it took over 50 laps to finally get a lap led in. But needless to say, we were running top two from about that one time I led all the way until the end of the race. Unfortunately, in the battle with Kevin Harvick, Harvick wrecked me in turn one. With about 4 or 5 laps to go, set up a restart, and then we ended up having a caution right after that, which set up a green-white checker. So a couple of late yellows definitely did us in. We ended up, though, with the third place finish out of it, and looking to build on that here at Michigan tonight. Intermediate tracks before that, Coke 600 finished fifth, started at the back with no practice or qualifying as well. Pocono, no practice, no qualifying. Tonight, no practice, no qualifying. We'll see what we can do. The only other track that's similar to this as far as shape and speed, 2 Mile Oval at California Speedway, we were in 25th, around 20th or worse most of that race, but we did catch a caution, and it was with right about 50 to go, a little less than that, right on the edge of the fuel run, and we were able to pit. Everybody else stayed out. We were able to stretch that final fuel run. We stayed green to the end. We won the race. We led only 4 laps, the final 4 laps on fuel mileage. Took advantage of that caution in the kind of in-between point of when to pit, or can you not make it on fuel to the end. Might have to do that here today because I don't know what kind of speed we're going to have. I'd imagine we may have a bit of struggle. Let's get into this one. Not sure who's on the pole until we get this started. And it will be Kyle Busch who is on the pole for the race. 200 laps, 400 miles. Green flag is in the air. And we're racing here at Michigan. Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in as well. This is my home track, so I'd like to get a win here at the old MIS. Just like with Pocono, restart's very wild here at Michigan. You can already see a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing. Off turn 2, down the backstretch, into 3 and 4. A couple cars almost up against the wall there, right in the middle of the corner. We definitely had some stack-ups in the first couple laps of that race at Pocono, so I'm going to have to watch myself back here. Oh boy, near accident. Yep, that's exactly what I thought could have happened. And all the way to 18th from 43rd on lap 2. Oh wow, I just sailed it off into turns 3 and 4, and it did not stick there. Still going to hold on to 18th. They were quite a ways behind me. No caution for all that. Mark Martin's going to get to the lead at the front of the field. I'm not sure if Busch might have led the first lap or not. I wasn't looking at the track map at that time. And looking to block David Stremme. Down the front straightaway into turns 1 and 2. Jeff Gordon now to the lead at the front of the field. Off turn 2 on lap 3. We might have 3 different leaders in the first 3 laps. Gordon can lead at the line. Back-to-back top 5s for Jeff Gordon. Second in Dover 2 races ago and ended up at finishing 5th, I believe, in yesterday's race. He was up in contention. He was actually leading into that final restart with 2 to go. And really started to fall back. Got freight trained into the first turn. Lost a couple more spots on the final lap of the race as well. Well, we're pulling the cars behind us, but we don't have any drafting help on anybody in front of us. Just kind of similar to when I was riding in about 11th, 12th place at Pocono in the early going yesterday, where I just didn't have the speed to kind of gain on anybody in front of us, but we're pulling away from the cars behind us, and we're already seeing that here at 18th at Michigan. Ethan Chua, Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in. Fantasy football comes down to tonight's game. I'm pretty sure I won in both leagues. Neither of the games are technically over, but I should win them both. Which means I'll get the #1 seed in my in the one league where the playoffs start next week. I'll get a first round bye. Two wins away from a championship. Gotta win the race. Well, I mean, I hope so. Like winning anytime I come to Michigan. This car's a little snug. I am going to have to free it up when we get to that first pit stop. I'm just hoping it doesn't get worse and worse as the tires start to wear and the run goes on. We get enough drivers to go side by side up here and really start battling with each other. There's an opportunity that we can catch more cars. Because it does feel like I'm slightly gaining on them. 3.6 seconds off Gordon for the lead, who's led every lap from lap 3 to lap 7, which we are on right now. Three-stop race, that's what we're hoping for. It should be a fuel mileage race as stated in the thumbnail. Gonna have to try to go 50 laps a run. And we'll have to just wait and see where we're at once we get to about lap 25-ish on this first run. Can we get to halfway out of gas at that point? I haven't had much drafting help, obviously, with that stack up on the initial start. First 8 laps, we've had nobody in front of us to try to save fuel. I would like to work my way through traffic a little more before we start saving at the same time, because things are definitely going to start to get more and more spread out as we get into pit stops. We had 4 cautions yesterday at Pocono. 9 in the 600. This is a 400-mile race, so maybe we won't see quite as many cautions. But we have not had a caution-free race yet this season, so gotta expect that there probably will be at least one based off that alone. Alan Barkley, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Currently trailing. I wish you good luck. I know you're in a playoff battle for fantasy. Prefer to win all the races on an easier difficulty. Yeah, that's not going to be any fun. Watching me lead every lap of every race is that wouldn't be entertaining. We do have races like that from time to time now. I couldn't imagine doing that all season. I would not be running full races if that was ever the case. Zero chance. That'd be so boring for myself even. Now you go through the challenge like this. It's a grind. Full season. And if you win the championship at season's end, it makes it feel that much more important. Race manipulation. No, that I didn't do it, you know, last season. I did it once. And it was a one-time only deal. That was when we were like multiple, 300 plus points behind Stewart for the Busch title. When we won it with Jimmy Johnson a couple seasons ago. Our first go-around on NASCAR 07. And that's because I was that far back with 3 races to go, and the only chance I would have had of winning a championship was doing something ridiculous, and it barely worked. I did what I had to do. That was definitely a one-time only deal. Alan Barkley, thanks for the $2 super chat. One of your favorite games? Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites too. Maybe not from like the play itself because it is pretty easy, but I had the PSP version of this game growing up. Played the heck out of it. Definitely one of my top 2 played NASCAR games growing up through my childhood. So for that reason, it's definitely one of my favorites also. Blaney trying to work through Sterling Marlin. Pole sitter Kyle Busch has already fallen back outside the top 10. I see him in this group of cars up here. Race leader Jeff Gordon, 3 seconds ahead of Dave Blaney right now. So Blaney's actually got decent pace. Again, in the draft, which is good. Got to make sure that we have somebody around us at some point when we cycle through pit stops. Marlin looking to the inside. Blaney up on the outside entering turn 3. I didn't get it to stick up there very well. The car's just too tight. I can't enter that high and roll it down to the bottom. It just doesn't want to go there. Even though I ran my fastest lap of the race running that high lane, I'm surprised that that was the case. More time to be had on the bottom, and Blaney glued to that white line through turns 1 and 2. Gets underneath Kyle Busch. Clears him. Also going to get to the inside of the 01 of Joe Nemechek. I've never not ran a legend or hardest difficulty ever on the channel. Like, it's always been as hard as it can be. You know, whether that was the Heat Games and it was set on like a numerical deal where I was at 105 as max as it could go. But yeah, I've always ran on max difficulty. Which is why, you know, there's been a couple championships I haven't won. Granted, the glitchiness of NASCAR 21 Ignition never winning a championship on that game, I'm not too worried about it. But the, yeah, I didn't win one on Thunder 04 in 2 seasons, and 06 on the Cup Series. I also had a season I didn't win the championship. So it happens. I'm good enough at these older games because I played a lot of these growing up. Obviously, the ones that we have played on the channel, I have played before. We get to 08, 09, I haven't played those before, so that'll be a new challenge of its own. At least I would imagine it would be. Man, Sterling Marlin's got pace here. He's up inside the top 10. We got to the inside of Denny Hamlin, but as we were side drafting each other, we really held each other back. Marlin gets by to the inside of both cars. Now you got Blaney and Nemechek. About to go 3 wide middle. Hamlin blocks both lanes. Surprised he was able to get down there. These guys are slingshotting each other. What a battle going on right now. Greg Biffle caught and passed Jeff Gordon for the lead recently. Tough to tell exactly when he did, but I just noticed now that he was in the lead. Oh, got tight, had to lift. Bad spot in the corner to keep it off the 14 of Sterling Marlin. That was definitely a close call. Able to block off the 14, or 42, excuse me. Casey Mears on the entry into turn 3. Edwin Justice, thanks for tuning in. About the high speeds on the front straightaway, 200 miles an hour. I remember going to Michigan in 2015. It was my first time I ever went to a NASCAR race. It was the August summer race of 2015 at Michigan. And watching qualifying the day before the Cup race and seeing those guys roll into turn 1 at 215 miles an hour plus. That was sick. For that to be my first, race that week, and even though the race itself, looking back on it, obviously maybe one of the more boring ones in the Gen 6 era, still being there in person was, the reason I fell in love with going to racetracks specifically. I'd always liked racing in NASCAR up to that point, but I never got to see it live. And, yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad that was the first track I was able to go to, and I just... raw speed. That's all Michigan's about. Speed and aerodynamics. You don't have to necessarily go out there, and it's not a racy racetrack, although it is slowly getting there as the track has aged. The last couple of races there have been really solid, but yeah, at that time, I think they only had couple of races on the newly paved asphalt, which is why they were going as fast as they were. On top of, I think they still had the 900 horsepower package, if I'm not mistaken, with the Gen 6 at that time, too. Joe Nemechek still putting a battle up with Dave Blaney for 8th place. Gets to the inside. This car's just too tight. It's more corner exit. It's more the second half of the turn when this car gets really tight. Not as much in the first half. Unless I enter on the higher lane. It's glued to the track, though. Like, I feel like I can get it to grip anywhere I want to. But yeah, change is definitely going to have to be made. It's kind of battling back after the top 10 here. That's probably about as much speed as I have in the car right now, is around 7th, 8th, 9th. Hamlin squeezing the 22 of Dave Blaney. A little contact on corner entry between the two cars as they were 3 wide. Blaney clear by corner exit to get back into 8th again. Hamlin's made a couple of gutsy blocks or 3 wide moves on, you know, if it wasn't myself, cars around us in this battle. Corey Freak, thanks for tuning in. No, I really didn't go too heavy on the downforce either. To kind of help with the grip level side of things. Walking Nemechek all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Now he's going to have a run to the high side entering turn 1. Kyle Busch, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, and Greg Biffle. 4 different drivers have led in the first 24 laps of tonight's race. It's going to be one of the shorter races of the season. First of 2 races here at Michigan, both in the regular season, of course. Oh, contact with Nemechek. Big moment off turn 4. And a clip of the grass there down on the front stretch. Thought for a second I was headed right for pit road. I don't know really what happened that caused that. Guys in the chat will have to let me know. I didn't feel like I moved down. I felt like I held my line there pretty well. Sadler gets by everybody. And at lap 25, right in the middle of 3 and 4, Dave Blaney not on the good side of trying to make this race on 3 pit stops. Wade, thanks for tuning in. Denny Hamlin in the 11. Trying to make this pass on the inside of Dave Blaney. Blaney with a little side draft on Hamlin down the back straightaway. These two have been side by side for a minute. Hamlin can't quite complete the pass as the 22 goes a little higher up the track through 3 and 4. Now the pass will be complete. Big time run for the 22 right off the exit of the corner. Pulls right back to the outside of the 11 car yet again. That could have been bad. There's never a good spot for contact when you're at these speeds at this racetrack, but that definitely, that didn't feel great. Almost got to the inside of the 01 car. Right as he was trying to look to the bottom underneath the 11 car. Yet again. Car just gets so tight. Right there in the center of 3 and 4, I feel like it's worse than it is in 1 and 2. 1 and 2, I do feel like the car turns a little easier. Granted, it's not as sharp of an angle getting into the corner, but it is the higher speed end of the racetrack. When we've stayed single file, the 11:01:22 are catching up to Sadler, who was by himself in the 38 car. With him not having a drafting effect. Hope it doesn't require force stop. Yeah, I'm hoping so too. I really do think we'll get a caution at some point. I know you can't bank on that because there's no guaranteed yellows, but we haven't had a caution-free race in the Cup Series on this season. I don't expect there to be one. These races are just so long. So whenever we do get a yellow, we're going to have to pit to probably make it a 4-stop race. Tried to back up 3 and 4 on the entry a little better that time. Gained a lot of ground on these guys. Was just able to keep up with them down the back straightaway. Actually lost time in 1 and 2. 38.849, fastest lap of the race. It was probably because of how good that turns 3 and 4 was on that area of the racetrack. Really trying to widen the arc out as much as I can here. Blaney with a move underneath the 01 of Nemechek. They'll be side by side down the back straightaway. Sadler blocks Hamlin. So they go for turn 3. Hamlin taking a peek to the inside, but not going to make the move. Blaney clears Nemechek for 9th, meanwhile. Hamlin to the outside to block. Back to the inside to block. Into 3 and 4, Blaney finally makes the pass on Hamlin for 8th yet again. It's as high as we've been in the running order so far. Haven't been any higher. And looking to attack on Elliott Sadler, 38.185, or 815, excuse me. Fastest lap of the race. Hamlin again, looking to the inside in 1 and 2. Sadler goes wide, Blaney goes wide. Oh, man. I might have did Sadler dirty there. On that pass for 7th. He didn't really give us enough room, and I had a run on him, and I didn't really want to lift any more than I did to make the corner. A little too aggressive on my behalf. He didn't completely just swipe down and block me. He was just kind of covering the lane enough. We are going to have to stretch this run out as far as we possibly can, though. That's a guarantee. I'm really hoping the tires hold up long enough during this run. I don't know if I'm going to make any adjustments the first stop and maybe take right sides only. Only way I'm taking 4 is if the left sides start to get into the yellow on the tire wear indicator before we get to lap 50, because then I know they're probably not going to make it to the end of the next run. Taking right sides only, it'll free the car up in and of itself, too. Just got to make sure I don't slide them coming into the pits. Trying to break the draft on Joe Nemechek in the 01 car. He's got a little bit of a run on the 22. So 7th place for Dave Blaney, as high as he has been in the running order here this afternoon. Nemechek with the run goes to the outside. Not going to be able to make the pass on the top lane through 1 and 2. But he does have a run to get to the bottom. I've been battling with Nemechek pretty much this whole race. Times it was for 10th, now it's for 7th. He's got a quick car. We both have top 10 cars, we just don't have race-winning cars. Pretty much the case of what I had at Pocono yesterday. I had a top 5 car, and that was about it. I think we led, I think I still led like 41 laps. A lot of that was the pit strategy, going right sides only, then left sides only. Big dive onto the apron, but the move not going to be made for the lead, or for the position, excuse me. I can grip up down there, but then I get to that tightness of the center off. And if I'm alongside another car, I feel like I'm going to clean them out. I need to have that whole racetrack. Moved to the bottom by the 22. And the pass made for 7th on Nemechek. Four and a half seconds behind Greg Biffle. So close to getting that draft off of Mark Martin in the 6 car up here down the straightaways. Right when it feels like I'm about to pull away from Nemechek, it just reels me in immensely by the end of the straightaway. Running me in that draft especially, and I break the draft. Definitely doesn't get as much of a run because he's not close enough behind the 6 of Martin to get a draft yet. Neither am I. Mark Martin and Kurt Busch battling for position. Martin makes the pass for 5th. Clears Busch off turn 2. We've got cars pitting this time, and that includes race leader Greg Biffle. Looks like Bobby Labonte, Joe Nemechek around us going to pit as well. This is definitely early. Lap 47 now. We're going to have to try to push it to lap 50. I'm afraid I'm going to be short, though. I just hope I don't run out. If I run out in turns 3 and 4, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to run out like on the back straightaway or in turns 1 and 2. Because that's going to be where we're going to lose a lot of time. Jeff Gordon on his way into the pits this time from the lead. So you can tell the leaders that we're pushing the pace hard early. Those are the drivers that have lost just a little bit of time. Kurt Busch looks like he wants to pit, but I don't think he's going to be able to this time. Bobby Labonte right underneath him after he cycled off. Here comes Mark Martin on his way in. Made it to lap 49. If I run out anywhere that isn't in the middle of 3 and 4 onward, I'm going to run out of time. If I run out getting into turn 3, we'll lose a little bit, but it's not going to be as bad. Kurt Busch's going to pit. Kevin Harvick staying out on the racetrack a little longer also. And we are obviously on lap 50. This would be the pit lap. Just going to get off the turn 2 here for Dave Blaney. I think I'm close enough. Oh, right in the middle of the back straightaway. I mean, we had to push it as far as we could. Gonna lose a lot of time here. Gonna have to coast it in the pits. Definitely right sides only now. I mean, we have to. Might even have to go fuel only, honestly. And I still sped. I still sped. I'll just take 4. I'll just take 4 tires at this point. Oh, man. Fortunately, the camera's not on. You guys would see me nodding my head off, and yeah, we're taking 4. I didn't make an adjustment like I probably should have. I wasn't planning to because I was taking rights only. Yeah, it was middle of the back straightaway, ran out just a little early. I sped coming into the pits too, unfortunately. Wow, we're going to be way back in the field now. To get up to speed in the draft behind Jeff Burton. Well, obviously we'll still be on the lead lap. This is a big enough racetrack, but speeding penalty on top of running out of gas in the middle of 1 and 2. It was a 5-second penalty for speeding. That's 2 races in a row I've sped coming to pit road. That time I was just coasting it all the way around. I just kind of in my brain didn't think I was going to have to slow up by the time I got to the commitment line. I was getting close. I was still at 89 miles an hour. I'm like, I better get on the brakes here, and then I only got it down to 72. I sped by 1 mile an hour at Pocono and by 2 miles an hour here in Michigan. Tony Raines leads, but I don't think he's pit yet. '28th right now for Dave Blaney. When it rains, it pours. Yeah, that's probably the perfect expression to explain exactly what just went on. And Tony Raines had speed at Pocono in the sense that he ended up finishing second. I mean, granted, a lot of it was on strategy. He had to stay in the lead lap for a long enough period of time, which he was able to, in order for him to get into the situation that under a late race caution, he would stay out of the pits, try to gamble for fuel, and it worked out. We had 3 drivers that were able to stay out of the pits and not pit in extra time. He was one of them. Now, Jeff Gordon fell to 5th on the restart, but he didn't. He stayed up there in the top 3, finished second. Career best for Tony Raines. So we gapped Jeff Burton. We're closing the gap now on Casey Kane in the 9 car. Blaney got 30th in the Father's Day race. Oh, we were running there initially when we came off of pit road. 26th now. So by the time everything would have cycled out, we would have technically been 28th. You know, we were actually in a halfway decent spot in the sense that there's going to be drivers that are going to be able to make this thing on 3 stops. So we could still get a good finish if we could just make it on 3 spots, but now we're really having to push to try to pull run. You know, those first roughly dozen laps when I was kind of on my own, we weren't able to draft on anybody, and I think that's where I was not saving enough to make it through lap 50. We got to lap 50 on the back straightaway, which is really only 49.5 laps. But by making it at least to the pit box on lap 50, we are in our window to still make it on 2 stops if we can back it up enough these last 2 runs. Which is going to be harder, but at least it gives us a chance. That was the only good thing with stretching it that far. My hands were kind of forced to really try it because I got as close as I did. You know, it'd be one thing if I was going to be way short of it. But I was really only like a quarter of a lap short of where I needed to be. I don't think Tony Raines has pit yet. I'm not using the brakes when I enter the corner. I'm only rolling out of the gas a little bit. So, I mean, I could save fuel a little bit that way by not having to brake. We still haven't had a caution. You know, 1 yellow flag. We can pit. And I might even go fuel only just to try to gain more track position, honestly. I wish there was a way of knowing exactly where the real leaders of the race are, because I doubt Tony Raines is one of them. He might be the one to beat for the race win. The way that this is shaping up. Yeah, Tony Raines just ran out of gas on the back straightaway. He still scored as the leader for right now, but as he's parked, will we catch a caution for the first time today? Oh boy. Killed their momentum a little bit there, trying to make the pass up the middle on McMurray and the 191 car. I don't know how I had that big of a run on everybody. But we did. Up to 20th. Just under 17 seconds off the lead. They must have been holding each other up so much, racing with each other to something. I don't know where that run came from on the straightaway. And Greg Biffle cycled back to the lead then, so Tony Raines is out of the race. I think I'm definitely going fuel only, though, on the next stop, even if it's under green. Do my best to try to gain as much track position as possible under every pit stop. Thought Raines could make it in 2 stops. I mean, the rate he was going at, if he would have made it, well, 67 laps where we're at now, he could have. He definitely ran out of gas. I'm surprised we didn't get a caution for him running out. We needed it, but didn't get it. 15.9 seconds off the lead now, so Biffle probably struggled in lap traffic there just a bit. Watch this be the only race that goes caution-free this season. Go figure, it's a race that I need a caution. Been as high as 7th in the running order today. Obviously have not led a lap. Biffle's second in points, too. I mean, I haven't really talked about it, but if he wins this race, we finish mid-pack. He's going to gain quite a few points on us. I know he's 300 back, but we got a race at Michigan again. Pocono, Indy. Again, these long straightaway tracks. We don't have the straightaway speed. We only gained 15 points on him at Pocono. The race before that, I think he got 25 on us. Not the Dover race. Excuse me, it would have been the Coke 600. He gained 25 points on us. Pocono, we got some of that back with the win and leading the most laps. Only race we haven't led laps in this season was Texas. So it wouldn't be the first time we'd go without a lap led in a race this season if we were not to lead. Ryan Berwick, thanks for tuning in. Denny Hamlin, Sterling Marlin lost a lot of ground from where they were earlier in the race. Blaney underneath Hamlin through turns 1 and 2. Big gains in the draft. Big dive by Blaney, 3 wide underneath Marlin and Jarrett up to 17th, clear of both. My only question is, too, am I running a quicker pace than the cars around me? Because I've noticed we've kind of creeped in on the leader a bit. Now it's 14.1 seconds. You know, are they trying to save fuel to make this thing on 3 stops total? Because a lot of them had pitted early, including, of course, our race leader, Greg Biffle. You know, we don't have to get back to the lead. We just got to get back to the lead of those that can maybe make it 50 laps. And Kevin Harvick, I believe, would be that guy we're racing. He was in third initially. So go figure, after the Pocono race, we were battling for the win, and he wrecked us, kind of threw it all away in the final 10 laps of the race. Might be us two battling for the win yet again, and hopefully we don't wreck each other this time. I'm hoping. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car up ahead. Right at lap 75. We'll have to wait and see where at on the track we're going to be when we get to halfway out of gas. It was right in the middle of 3 and 4 last time. Yep, same spot. Man, that's tough. So we're probably looking at the same spot again, lap 100, middle of the back straightaway, running out of gas just like I did the last time. It's probably just going to be a consistent thing. Paul Menard in the 15 car. It's a lap down, first of the lap down cars that we're catching and passing. David Stremme also a lap down. Tiger signed Alex Cobb. It's interesting. Big name. Another pitcher to add to a stacked pitching roster. Yeah, he played for Cleveland. The only thing that's worrisome with him is the fact that he did have an injury last season. And he was out for quite some time before he ended up pitching in the playoffs. So hopefully he, could get back to original form. Because he was definitely shaky in the playoffs from what I saw of him. Reid Sorensen lap car up on the outside. Kenseth's going to get picked right behind him. Kyle Busch and Casey Mears will pass the 17. Dave Blaney trying to catch up to all of these guys just up ahead of him. He'll actually get to the inside of Kenseth off turn 4. We'll see if he can use the draft of Casey Mears to stay underneath him entering turn 1 and actually make this pass for position. Seems like it will be the case. Kenseth crowds the 22 just a little bit. And now you got Mears and Busch going door to door with one another as well. And Blaney to the inside of Busch. Drafts up behind Casey Mears in that 42 car. Clears Busch for 14th. Blaney trying to make the pass on Mears now. 11.7 seconds off the lead from Greg Biffle, whose pace, not only through the midst of lap traffic, but maybe no drafting help, isn't quite as fast. I don't know who that was that just blew an engine on the bottom of the track, but we passed him and blew by him so quickly I couldn't tell who it was. No idea. Oh, we got somebody else blowing up too, 3 and 4. That's J.J. Yaley. I don't know who the first guy was, but the second one was definitely Yaley. Michigan definitely a fast track that leads to a bunch of engine failures. We had a lot at Pocono yesterday. We had 14 drivers that failed to finish the race at Pocono yesterday. An absurd amount. Kenseth almost got underneath the Dave Blaney there. That was close. Blaney trying to get a run underneath Truex. Getting a little bit of a draft off Joe Nemechek in the 01 car. Not enough to try to pull to the inside of the one of Truex down the back straightaway, but he does drive underneath him into 3 and 4. And completes the pass anyway from a decent ways back. All clear. Kenseth to the inside of the one car as well. Truex must have just not got through that corner well himself. Kenseth clear for 13th. Dale Jr. Joe Nemechek battle for 10th. Chance for Blaney to close on both of them. Look at the big run this 22 car's got on both cars. Sails it way off into 3 and 4, all the way to the apron, trying to get it to stick. Slides up the track clear. Bonsai move to get by 2 cars in one corner. After how slow the 01 and the 8 were down the back straightaway, 11 seconds off the lead and back into the top 10 for Dave Blaney. And Dale Jr. looking to make the pass down to the inside now into 1 and 2. He's going to get underneath the 22 car. Earnhardt gets by. Now Matt Kenseth down to the bottom. Quite a mighty battle going on for 10th. Man, what a battle this is. Kevin Harvick back in the lead. And remember that he's probably the best on fuel. Kenseth blocking the heck out of Blaney right now. Blaney can't get around him. Looking for a run to the outside. Gets blocked off there. Looking for a run to the bottom. Little contact between the two cars entering 3 and 4. Definitely got to make sure I don't speed on pit road again. I'm definitely going rights only on the next stop. And then I'm hoping that lefts only after that can take me to the finish. We'll have to monitor the tire wear as we get through each run. We're 10.8 to 10.9 seconds off of race leader Kevin Harvick. Harvick's pace a little bit quicker than that of Biffle. That's why Harvick was able to catch Biffle over the course of this current tire stint. They were definitely running the 16 down. Older tires, I don't know that we're going to eat into the lead much. I'm hoping I eat into the lead enough by taking 2 tires on both stops. And then maybe we can stretch the fuel window, get any more spots we can. I still don't know if we're going to be able to get up and actually win this race, but gives us a fighting chance. Elliott Sadler's in 9th. This 174 car is a lap down, I believe, and is able to hang on in the draft behind Elliott. Blaney trying to get close enough to him. It looks like Sadler may be pitting this time. He pulls to the bottom, middle of the back straightaway. Yeah, the car's pitting now. Definitely not going to be able to make it all the way to the finish. Here comes Sadler. So that's a spot. Any other spot we can game between now and lap 100, those guys we can definitely beat. Again, I would imagine that Kevin Harvick is going to pit at lap 100 or after. So the fact that he got to the lead before the pit stops, he's going to be extremely tough to beat today. Minus a caution, of course. $10.8 off the 29 car. Elliott Sadler trying to get up to speed down the back straightaway. Dave Blaney trying to pull through and clear that 38 car down into turn 3. Barely able to do it. I thought I was going to catch him in a bad spot and I wasn't going to be able to get the car down to the bottom, but we did. And obviously he's got 4 fresh Goodyears to our 45 lap old tires. A couple lap cars that we're going to try to pass here towards turn 1. Got by the 143. The 145 car would be next. Pass down to the inside. All clear of him off turn 2. We are up to third at lap 98. Trying to make it to lap 100. I would imagine we'll probably run out of gas, middle of the back straightaway again at lap 100. Now we're up to second at lap 99. We're 10.2 seconds off of Kevin Harvick, 10.2 to 10.3. That's the difference between the top two. Everybody else probably isn't going to be able to make it on fuel at the very end. We'll stay out. I'm just hoping I can at least get to the middle of 3 and 4. That way I don't lose time. 10.1. We were about 17 seconds off the lead when we first started that run, but that was when Biffle was leading the majority of the run. Off turn 2. Middle of the back straightaway. There it is, yep. I actually think it might have been a couple hundred feet later that time around. And on to pit road. Got to make sure we don't speed this time. Oh, I still sped! You've got to be kidding me. I'll make the wedge adjustment. How did I do that again? I tried to make sure I wasn't going to speed that time. I was more aware of it because I sped the first time coming in. Now I'm kind of guessing, I don't know where the commitment line's at. Because I thought I knew where it was at, and I was going to slow down in plenty of time, and I didn't. I went fuel only. Harvick's still out on the racetrack. Don't spin out. Man, the car got light right there. Trying to get up to speed. Trying to get up in front of Dale Jarrett. Harvick's on pit road now. He's definitely going to make it on fuel. We need a caution in the worst way. Where's the commitment line? I mean, like, I'm so second-guessing myself now. Because it's earlier than what I thought it was. It's not where the pit wall extends out and starts. It's before that. Because that's what I was going off of. Hey, maybe Harvick blows a motor before the end of the race, and then we're actually in a decent spot. That's a lot to ask for. He's getting up to speed on the back straightaway right now. I'm going to be further behind than what I was after that speeding penalty now. I can't believe that. First time was, I mean, obviously both times was on me. I sped. Like, nobody can prevent that other than myself, clearly. But that time, I was actually speeding faster than what I was the first time. But I thought I was slowing down earlier than what I did the time before that. So no practice does for you right there. You don't get to practice pit road entry, and it's banged us 2 races in a row. Not practicing pit stops. All right, so Tony Raines is going to return to the racetrack. They're running out of fuel earlier in the race, so he's probably going to be down a cylinder or so. Yeah, probably slow up quite a bit of the field. So we'll have to be leery of that. We're 16.8 seconds off the lead, so about as far as I was at the start of the last one. To be fair, I was Christmas shopping and I got back at 8 and I got done eating. I set the stream up. I didn't give myself enough time to practice, so that's why I didn't do practice or qualifying today. That's 3 speeding penalties over the last 2 races. 2 of them today, 1 at Pocono. And we still haven't had a caution yet in this race. We're past halfway now. I mean, we should still be in a prime position to get a good finish if we can go the distance. Even if I run out of gas on the last lap and coast to the line. As long as I'm not too slow through turns 3 and 4. Yeah, I definitely think we could get a halfway decent finish out of it. I mean, ideally, we should be able to get up to second. And Harvick would be the only one that's ahead of us that could actually make it on gas. If we catch a caution before that, then that takes his fuel strategy game out of play, and then we just have to catch him on speed. And he would have to hope that he wins the race off pit road, assuming he pits. Could have some split strategy, because we have kind of seen that the last couple races with cautions. Some pit, some don't. So that the 600, we saw that at Pocono. And there's Tony Raines right in front of this group of a bunch of cars battling for position. Blaney to the inside, 3 wide. Makes passes, going to get to 13th. I mean, Raines is going to be caught by Kevin Harvick quite a few times between now and the finish of the race. That's going to slow him up over however many laps it takes to get to him. Right rear tire's wearing out for the right front. I think that's when I was sliding my tires when I came out of the pits. Didn't slide them going in because I clearly was speeding onto pit road, so I definitely didn't lock them up there. See, the problem with going fuel only, that means I'm going to have to take 4 tires the next time we pit. And that would be without a question. Took that half a round of wedge out of the car on top of not taking any tires, and it's definitely freed it up quite a bit. I can tell a major difference. I'm really able to get it to roll off into the corner really well. So I don't think I'm going to make another adjustment when I go to make the 4-tire stop the next time. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I just hope it doesn't get too loose, this run with the tires really going to be worn out. I move under Truex and now under Mears for 11th and 12th. And all clear for Blaney off turn 4 on both of them. .577 that last lap, fastest of the race. Definitely tell that freeing it up was the way to go. .89 laps left still. And there goes the left rear. A few laps after the right rear, and now the right front will follow in suit on the tire wear chart. Again, we went fuel only to try to help mitigate that loss of time speeding on pit road for the second time. Both of our pit stops in the race, we were caught for speeding. The hope is that we can make it on one more, still get a halfway decent finish. Where would I mean, 10 seconds worth of penalties. Granted, I would have taken, well, I probably wouldn't have taken fuel only the last stop. Probably would have just went rights only. And then lefts. So maybe wouldn't have had quite as fast of a pit stop. Biffle back to the lead. Did he catch it past Harvick in traffic, or did Harvick happen to blow an engine? We haven't seen Harvick on the track yet. I would imagine that Biffle just caught him in traffic. Maybe it was Tony Raines that costed Harvick the lead. I really have to take care of these tires as much as I can. In the sense, I got to make sure Casey Mears, who gets really close to that back bumper on corner entry at the end of these straightaways, I break the draft enough, decent enough speed off the exit of the corner that he doesn't pull all the way up to me. Because I don't want this car to start getting aero loose. The looser moments I have, where I have to make saves, especially this early in the run, the worse and worse the car is going to get as this run carries on to when we need to go to lap 150 before our next stop. If we're going to make it on fuel with just one more pit stop the rest of the way and make this a total 3-stop race. .3. That's how many seconds off the lead we are to Greg Biffle. .1. Biffle isn't the fastest car in the field, so the longer he leads, the more time we can at least gain on Harvick. In total, knowing that Harvick's not the one we're trying to chase as of now, obviously, if it goes green the whole way, it's probably going to be the best on fuel compared to everybody else. He went the longest without pitting. Catch Tony Raines right in the middle of 3 and 4. Casey Mears going to get caught behind him, lose a little time. So Blaney stretches the lead over him, or the gap, for 11th. Dale Jr. battles for position. Can't tell who that's with. Might be Matt Kenseth in the 17. So they run side by side. Blaney is catching up to both of them. Yeah, Harvick went 51 laps that last run. I think he pitted at lap 50 and then went lap 101 before he pitted that next time. I catch Kenseth and Earnhardt. I'm just going to sit behind him in the draft to try to save some fuel. Especially with having older tires. So I don't think I'm going to be able to drive away from them. The only reason I'm even catching them is because they're starting to race each other. Kenseth back to the inside of Earnhardt again. After Dale Jr. just passed him a couple laps ago. Race tomorrow night, it'll be Sonoma. Infineon Raceway. I do have the schedule up on the community tab for the remainder of the week. But yeah, another Cup race. It'll be at Infineon Raceway. Of course, again, Sonoma, but that's what it was called at that time. 80 laps to go here tonight. And again, Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth continue to battle with each other. Blaney getting a little bit of that draft. Closes in a lot of ground through 3 and 4. .8 off of Biffle. Three wide. Bottom of the track for Blaney underneath both Kenseth and Earnhardt. I didn't want to pass them both, but we ended up passing them both and up to ninth now. Just kept running side by side with one another. Wanted to start saving gas in the draft, but apparently that wasn't going to happen. They're still side by side. I mean, they're slowing each other down too much. I got to go. Like, it's one thing to save fuel behind them, but I'd be losing way too much time. They started to get to single file. They'll end up running me back down. I believe that. Although we might catch Tony Raines another time, but Kenseth's right back underneath the Earnhardt again. Through 3 and 4. Big dive going into 3, a little too much. Flatline the entry, a little more there. I don't want to get on the apron anymore with the hold their tires. 13.1 seconds off the lead. Got down to 10 for the last pit stop. I'm not going to be able to gain as much, though. Definitely going to have to go 4 tires. I'm hoping I don't lose any extra ground. Which I probably will. Knowing this pit crew. Halfway out of fuel. Same spot. Yeah, I mean, it's consistent. It's consistent that I'm out of gas lap 50, 100, 150, middle of the back straightaway. It's probably going to be like that at the very end of the race again, too. You know, I could pit a lap early to save time that way, but the problem is then I'm going to be a lap and a half short. I'm definitely banking on a caution, which I would have hoped we would have had a yellow by now. And I still am leaving it out there because we haven't had a caution-free race in the Cup Series on the season. And this is now race number 15. But maybe this is the one. Took a ways before that left front started to really wear out. 12.9 off the lead. There's Tony Raines in the 96. I can't believe that Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth. I mean, it's like every corner, those two are side by side. One corner, the 17's on the bottom, the 8's on the top, and then vice versa the next. I mean, they've been crossing each other up for so long. And I think Kenseth finally won the battle because I believe he picked Dale Jr. behind Tony Raines. Yeah, Junior's gone now. Kenseth won that battle, and now he's probably going to start to reel us in. Like how steady I've been able to make this thing so far. Still got about another 20 laps to go on the fuel and tire stem, but we're going to go 100 laps on these tires here at Michigan. I don't even know exactly where the 8th place cars are on the racetrack. This guy in front of us definitely, yeah, 149 car is definitely not for position. Making a clean pass on the 149. The low entry line going into turn 3 here, just trying to make sure he's not going to get on a rear spoiler. Pull away from him, as he is the lap car. A little loose off turn 4 that time, I could kind of tell. 12.6 seconds off the lead. 12.3 behind Biffle. But how close are we to Kevin Harvick, who had gotten passed during this run by the 16? So that's the guy we're probably racing for the win on the fuel mileage with. We know the 16 is more than likely going to be well short. There could be guys that pit lap 148, 149 that may run in front of us at the finish. And we'd have to try to beat them as well. I can definitely see that happen. I'll get by Reigns on the back straightaway. This car up in front of us got held up by him. I think it might be Ryan Newman in the 12. It's hard to tell for sure from this far back, but it looks like it could be the Alltel Dodge, which would probably be a position for 8th. Just under 12 seconds off the lead. Newman catching a couple lap cars that are side by side in front of him. Maybe they'll slow down enough for Blaney to catch him even more. Okay, that's as loose as I've gotten off turn 2 this entire run. It may not have looked that bad. It really wasn't that bad, but it's definitely starting to free up middle off, which is where we were really tight before. We took a half round of wedge out, but we also, again, did not change tires. Trying to close the gap on Paul Menard and Sterling Marlin. A lot steadier wheel off of the exit of turn 2 that time, side by side with Menard on the back straightaway. Henry turns 3 and 4, driving it in really deep, trying to get by the 15 and the 40 in this corner. And we'll be able to do just that. I'm really trying to not lift any extra, even with the car getting looser, just to not give up as much time. Another car blowing an engine. Mark Martin, that is a spot. Okay. That moves Blaney up to 8th. Martin, who led laps early in the race, is now out with an engine failure. So that was a free position. And we're 10 laps away from having to pit. And Newman in 7th is right in front of us, which is as high as we have ran so far today. If we didn't speed on pit row, we'd be right around that 10 seconds off the lead. Maybe give up a couple extra seconds just because of the lone fact that I would have probably taken right sides only at least on the last stop. And then gone lefts on this. But ultimately, you know, considering I more than likely would have done that by the end of the final stop, yeah, we finished within 10 seconds of the lead. I'm going to be kicking myself over those the speeding on pit road. That's tough. So I definitely think there's a chance we can get within 10 seconds. Couldn't get it to turn because I was carrying so much. We're going to sit behind Newman, and I'm going to try to save a little bit of extra fuel here. I'm not going to try to pass him. Got a couple cars that just came to pit road that last time. So now Newman's in 5th. Blaney is 6th. Blaney trying to save a little bit of extra gas here behind the 12 car. Gets a cut right in the middle off underneath the 12 of Newman. Might end up passing him anyway. Who knows? Down into turn 3. Draft in line behind him again. I'd rather not pass him. Just whatever little bit I could save here trying to get the lap 150. Harvick's back in the lead, so that tells me Biffle was one of the cars at a pit already. We're 8.5 seconds behind Harvick. Again, we will have to take 4 tires. A move to the inside of the 12. He had to check up. He almost got squeezed. Blaney a little loose off turn 4 as the 12 of Newman might have taken the air off the rear spoiler of the 22 car just a bit. 7.8 off the lead. Newman back to the outside as they enter turn 1. Lap 145. Here at the Michigan International Speedway. A lot more cars on pit road this time. And more to come, I would assume. Catching the 96 of Tony Raines. Bobby Labonte stuck behind him on the front stretch off turn 4. Labonte would be another spot. Newman stuck behind Raines, gives a little bit of clearance off the back bumper, even more of Dave Blaney, probably over half a second difference between the 12 and the 22 now, and now Blaney's in the draft of Labonte. We'll try to catch him and draft behind him down the straightaways. Unless he pits this time. He does not. Labonte stays on the track to at least lap 147. Yeah, really free in the middle of the corner there. Come on, we're only a few laps away. Try to get him back in 3 and 4. Seven and a half off of Harvick. Well, Bonnie looks as if he's going to be pitting this time. Blaney way out of the gas, getting into 3 and 4. Trying to push it up to 3rd. .3 to 7.4 off of Harvick. Oh boy. That was a big moment there off turn 2. By far the biggest slide we had. Luckily there was nobody around us at that time. And now down into 3 and 4. Ryan Newman's closing the gap on us again. So he's still out on the track, so we're definitely going to have to stay in front of him. Up to 2nd at the line, lap 150. Dropped about a second to Harvick that last lap, about 1.1 to 1.2 seconds slower than the 29 car. Wow, we ran out earlier here than we did any other point. This is a lot of time lost. Yeah, we ran out earlier there than I did any other run before that. I didn't speed that time. That's good. Wow. I hate to lose that. So I did what I wanted to do. Harvick's still on the track, by the way. Still. I don't think he's pit. Blaney scored back in 14th as Kyle Busch got around him on the back straightaway. How much further is Kevin Harvick going to go? He stayed out again. Is he going to try to do what Tony Raines did earlier and run out of gas? Because he might do that the longer he stays out. Considering we're still a lap down. The only problem is we'd be a lap down if a caution came out. So if he runs out of gas, we really need it to stay green. And he's going to be pitting this time. How did he go that far? Oh my goodness. I was really hoping he'd run out of gas because that was the guy we really had to beat. We definitely lost time running out of gas off turn 2. A little different, you know, between running out of gas, not only middle of the back straightaway, but even like towards the end of the backstretch entering turn 3 like we did on the last stop compared to off turn 2. We gave up a lot of time. And we had to take 4 tires because we went fuel only the stop before after speeding. Still, it's one of those things where it's like if we get to within 10 seconds of the lead by the end of this race, you know, it boils down to those 2 speeding penalties. We would have been able to make up everything if that had not happened. We're quite a ways behind Greg Biffle right now, though. We're definitely going to need a caution. Which I was kind of saying the whole race anyway, but now that we're at the point where we're going to try to go the rest of this race on fuel, we're really going to need that. We're 26.5 seconds behind Biffle. Less than that off of Harvick, but it's still a lot. Maybe Tony Raines stacks everybody up enough that causes a caution that way. I'm hoping for something. We haven't had a yellow the whole race. This would be our first caution-free race of the season. We've been as high as second during the midst of green flag pit stops today, so I haven't been able to lead a lap because Harvick's been in front of us the whole time and he's gone further than us on fuel every time. I definitely think over time we can drive back into the top 10. We found out that last run there's just a giant gap between 7th and 8th. You know, that's the point. We get to 8th place, and I don't know that we'll catch Newman this time around. Or if we catch Newman, we might not catch the next car in front of him. Yeah, fuel reasons. I mean, I'm definitely... Well, well, if we catch a caution, I think I'm going fuel only. A little splash and go so I can gain time in the pits because we tested how far we could go on tires. I mean, I just want to win here so bad. I love Michigan. With it being my home track, it really does stink not to pull this off. Oh yeah, it would definitely be a half a can if I had to pit again. For sure. Yeah, caution comes out. I think I'm going splash and go. Unless for some reason nobody else comes down. I doubt that would be the case. I want to try to beat as many of those guys off pit road as possible. Maybe all of them. If we can get a few more spots before a potential caution. I would think some would stay out. So it might not even give us the lead, but I want as much track position as possible. On yellow only, yeah, I'm going to try to make it the rest of the way under green. I'm really, you know, if I run out of gas on the back straightaway off turn 2 again, we're going to coast it around to the checker, but I think I can get a better finish that way than if I were to just pit. Even if it's a half can only. I'm so far off the lead, I'm definitely going to go a lap down. So if we caught a caution like after I pit in the final 5 laps, then I'm still not going to have a chance to win, so... I'm going to just try to stay out as long as I can. I'm probably going to run out of gas at some point on the last lap. And then we just try to coast it around. There's no cautions on the final lap, so that wouldn't really bang us. Whoever gets us for a position on that final lap, so be it. But, I mean, we've been stuck on the strategy every 50 laps the whole race. I'm going to stay committed to it. Joe Nemechek's definitely going to be in position here. Same for Truex up ahead, so this will be 11th. Truex will be in 10th. We're still looking at a good finish, and that's even without other guys that are definitely going to have to pit in front of us that have zero chance of making it to the end on fuel. Gone from 26 seconds off the lead to 24.3 during this run. It sucks because our pace has been quicker than Greg Biffle the whole day. Not Kevin Harvick, but quicker than Biffle. And Harvick loses time because he stays out so much longer, so Biffle on fresher tires eventually with short pitting gets around him, but he's definitely having to pit well before that 50-lap hold every time. Blaney drafts behind Truex, 38.544 that last lap. Fastest lap of the race for the 22 team. Casey Mears has a spot in the 42 car up ahead as well. So that would be 9th, and then there's going to be a giant gap before the next car after that. Blaney with a run. Gets through to 10th by Truex. Gets by a lap car as well. .410 that last lap. Another fastest lap of the race. Lap car on the bottom of the track. Blaney to 9th. Going to get by Casey Mears as well. And he should clear the through 3 and 4 on the 149. So up to ninth. 36 laps left at the line. We'll alternate through our different camera angles for the first time in the race. There's absolutely nobody out in front of us. So I guess that big gap is actually between 8th and 9th place. It wasn't even 51. I mean, Harvick went like 53 that last time. He went 50, 51, 53. Yeah, I don't know. Zero clue how he stretched it that far. Catching the slow 96 car. When to be in save gas mode, honestly, if I catch a car that I think I could ride behind, definitely wasn't going to be Tony Raines. Yeah, when I catch a car that I think I could ride behind that's got decent speed, kind of like the last run, I'll maybe try to save a little bit of gas. But that would be about it. "30 laps left here at Michigan." Trying to be more aggressive and use as much of the apron right in the center of the corner as possible. Knowing that I'm pretty sure the tires will be fine to the end of the race. Maybe I'll pay the price at the very end of the run. Still doing everything I can to make lap time, even with no drafting help. Which definitely isn't easy. "26 laps left at the line this time by. Greg Biffle still leads. For how long, though? With where Biffle is on track, there still has to be quite a few cars on the lead lap, even though this race has gone caution-free. We're in ninth, but there's a lot of cars between us and the leader. Some of those obviously already a lap down as we have passed, but not all of them. I would probably say there's over 15 cars on the lead lap. So we're like right in the middle of the amount of cars that are on the lead lap. Yep, same spot as usual that we get to halfway out of gas. Right on the corner entry to turn 3. So again, we're looking at back straightaway on the final lap, running out of fuel. Keep running it. I mean, again, I hope that there's a caution. We haven't had a caution-free race yet this season. So statistics alone would probably tell us that we're going to get a yellow, even though we haven't had one yet. We've had races that we've seen late yellows like this after a long, long green flag run to kick the race off. Usually those were in the Busch or the Truck Series, but I'm just hoping Tony Raines stacks up guys that are already running like 3 wide or something. Because of how off the pace he is, maybe we catch somebody that way. Catch a caution that way, excuse me. You would have to think this has to be Kevin Harvick's race to lose. There are 8 drivers ahead of us. Ryan Newman's probably looking at making it on fuel to the finish, too. Newman should be able to make it to the finish. He's probably in 7th or 8th. Maybe we can catch him. After that, though, I mean, it's looking like it could be a 2nd place finish still. I know Bobby Labonte was close, but he pitted, I believe, coming to lap 149. Or maybe it was 149 coming to 150. 20 laps left. Cape Viva, thanks for tuning in. Michigan's a fun track. Wish they would have kept Auto Club. Fully agree with you. Cars get all over the place at Michigan. Yeah, especially this time period. Into the early 2010s, about 2010-ish. Before they repaved the track. It's slowly getting into a wider groove track. Couple more years, I think Michigan is going to be what we remember Fontana as being. As far as how fun and really how wide the track is, using a bunch of different lanes. Probably wouldn't be able to use the apron as much here at Michigan just because of the banking of the racetrack itself, but every lane but that. .21.5 seconds off of race leader Greg Biffle. We get down into the final 10 laps of the race, we'll probably see cars pitting that we know are well short to making it on fuel. If it went green the whole way, it was going to be a fuel mileage race in Michigan, and here enough, our first caution-free race of the season, if it goes green the rest of the way, will be this one, the 3M Performance 400. And for fuel purposes, what is going to happen? 16 laps to go from where we are right now. 32 more miles in this 400-mile, 200-lap race around this fast, bad 2-mile oval. And still just holding out hope that we can get a caution to kind of further our chances of making it on fuel, because we're looking to run out on the back straightaway on the final lap with where we are at right now. And there are definitely going to be some cars in front of us that have to pit before the finish. But there will probably be some cars behind us that can make it that might be able to pass us when we run out of gas on the final lap as well. There's Tony Raines again. I think the other 3 cars that are around him are all lapped down. Still nowhere close to whoever's in 8th. Probably able to catch at least a little bit of draft down the straightaways off someone. 143 car there for a brief moment down the back straightaway before making the move to the inside in 3 and 4. Pass not complete quite yet. Probably going to be side by side down into 1. Just had a quarter tank of gas left. I don't believe Jeff Burton is for position. Actually, Matt Kenseth is in the 17 car in front of Burton. That is a spot. I thought it was a lap car from further back, but the closer we get, I think it's actually Matt Kenseth, which would be for 8th. Burton is a lap down as expected as we pass him through 3 and 4. Not quite close enough to get in the draft that 17 car yet, so we'll try to break the draft on Burton behind us. Well, we got some cars coming in already. We still have 11 laps to go this time by. A lot of them are coming into the pits. If they're close enough to the leader on the lead lap, they could actually stay on the lead lap even with a 4-tire stop. If they're within a few seconds of the lead. We're too far back. That definitely wouldn't work. Even if we went fuel only, we'd go a lap down. We're 20.4, 20.3 seconds back. We did get one spot there on the front stretch, so somebody in the top 7 had hit pit road. As Kenseth now moves up to 7th and Dave Blaney in 8th right there behind him. Now we're close enough to get a little draft down the back straightaway on Kenseth. Try to battle him straight up for position. We're going to see cars pitting pretty much every lap from here to the finish. Who can make it in these final 10 laps here at Michigan? Nobody for position that time. All lap cars that were on pit road there. Kenseth blocks Dave Blaney on the front straightaway. Middle of 1 and 2. Deep dive to the bottom by the 22 car. Kenseth hanging on the right rear corner panel. Going to side draft Blaney back on the back straightaway. But Dave should be able to complete the pass, having the advantage into 3 and 4. Kenseth squeezes him, but Blaney's clear. So that's another spot gain up to 7th now as we continue to try to press forward. Off chance that maybe we could catch another driver for position. Would have thought we were going to have a chance to try to catch Newman again. And Newman, I think, is one of those cars that is more likely to make it than maybe not to make it. I really don't know about Kenseth because he was behind us pretty much into pit stops every time. Here comes Biffle. Biffle's into pit from the lead. And Jimmy Johnson's now out in front here at Michigan. So this will be at least one more spot on the front stretch. 8 laps to go. "13 seconds behind Johnson. That's a huge gap. Biffle had about a 7-second lead over Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Johnson going to stay out for at least one more lap. Somebody else pitting just up in front of us. Who is it? It's lap car 145. 12 seconds now behind Johnson. Our pace is way quicker than the 48. Gained a second on him that last lap. But with only 7 laps to go, he's second a lap. We're definitely not going to catch him. I don't know about Jimmy making it on fuel. I have not seen him. I think this is the first he's led the whole race. Better late than never to get those bonus points, especially with him being outside the chase cut line right now. 6 to go at the line for Jimmy Johnson. Can he make it on fuel and win and steal one here at the Michigan International Speedway? Another car pitting up ahead. Is it a lap down? Whoever it was a lap car. All the way down pit road, no spots gained for the 22 there. Still 12 seconds off the lead. Didn't gain anything. I wonder if Tony Raines might have held Johnson back for that one lap. When he has the 145 car clear, and we've got somebody in the top 5 pitting this time. It's Johnson. Johnson's out of gas. 5 to go. Harvick takes the lead. Couple other cars up ahead pitting as well. Lap car Scott Riggs. Blaney is now in the top 5. Bobby Labonte held behind Tony Raines on the front stretch. Labonte is a position. So Bobby Labonte would be for 4th. I would think Marlin's a lap down. And he's pitting this time, whether he's a lap down or not. Blaney going to get underneath the 43. Again, this is for fourth. Blaney clear off the exit of the corner. Marlin was a lap down. That was not a spot. 10.7 seconds behind the race leader, Kevin Harvick. And the 2 speeding penalties, 5 seconds each. It's tough. I just saw Kenseth cycling off of pit road. Draft behind the 191, Rapol and Labonte. 191 car blocks on the entryway into turns 3 and 4. I don't know if he's pitting this time or not. No, he's not. He's just blocking me. I'll draft behind him. Try to save a little more gas. 3 to go. Still in fourth. Nobody else in front of us pitted that time. I don't think I'm going to catch anybody else for position. Look to the inside of the 191 through turns 1 and 2. Not quite clear yet. Still door to door in the back straightaway. Harvick has 2 laps to go here at Michigan. Couple more cars up in front pitting. One of them lap car, David Stremme. Another one was Ryan Newman. I think I just saw Newman in the pits, and that's another spot. Blaney's up to third. Oh, man. I mean, it's not going to matter if I run out of gas. I'm not going to finish within 10 seconds of Harvick. So I guess ultimately the speeding penalties might not matter. Harvick still out on the track. White flag will be in the air. 1 lap to go at Michigan. And each of these top 3, Labonte still on the track behind us in fourth. 2 more miles to try to make it. 9.7 seconds off the lead is Dave Blaney. This is nerve-wracking. Yep, out of gas off turn 2. I gotta hold my line here. 4 wide. Oh my gosh, I saw there was a car on the bottom, and there was multiple cars up high. Labonte was one of them that just passed us. Oh, we gotta creep back to the line. I just hope I don't lose too many more positions. Still in fourth. Labonte's gonna beat us. Kevin Harvick is your race winner. There's nobody on the track right now behind us. Come on, go! 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 Somebody else going to pass us coming to the line here. I don't know if it's going to be a spot. Truex. That was not a spot. Not a spot. Got it. Fourth. Look at my earplug out. Fourth. I'll take it. We're still about 3.5 seconds ahead of Jamie McMurray, who ended up finishing 5th. I'll take it. I only lost 1 spot running out of gas on the last lap, so I'll take it. 4th place finish here at Michigan. 1 spot worse than our Pocono finish. Kevin Harvick led 43 laps en route to the win. How about that? Average speed 180.93 miles per hour. One of the fastest races in NASCAR history right there, ladies and gentlemen. 0 cautions, 14 lead changes. Our first caution-free race of the season. 6.6 margin, second margin of victory there for Harvick. So that means I was really only like a second, if that, behind Kurt Busch, who finished in 2nd. Great runs for Busch, by the way. He won Pocono, finished 2nd today at Michigan. He's really trying to cut back into that points deficit to get into the chase. Bobby Labonte ends up 3rd, Dave Blaney 4th, Jamie McMurray in 5th. 124 laps led for Greg Biffle as he finishes 6th. Jeff Gordon led 13, finished 7th. Jimmy Johnson had to pit late. He led for 3 laps in the late going, finished 8th. Casey Mears led 2 laps, ended up 9th. Ryan Newman finishes 10th. Only 9 cars finished on the lead lap. Kyle Busch led for a lap today. That was the first lap because he started on the pole. 13 laps led for Tony Raines before he had issues, ran out of gas middle of the going, got back in the race, but was very off the pace. 10 DNFs. Well, Raines technically finished, so 9 DNFs today. We had 14 at Pocono, 9 here today at Michigan. Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., J.J. Yaley, B. Jefferson, fantasy driver, Kyle Petty, Tony Stewart, W. Sanders, another fantasy driver, Jeff Green, Jeremy Mayfield were the 9 drivers to DNF. So we've had 9 or more DNFs in the last 2 races. Fast tracks, though. You know, Pocono, Michigan, very fast racetracks, so maybe not a surprise after all. So we did beat Biffle, so we should extend our points lead as he finished just a couple positions behind us. And 110 laps tomorrow at Infineon Raceway will be our next live stream for NASCAR 07. Out of gas on the final lap. I kind of expected it was as early as what it was the run before that, right off turn 2. Gonna go a long ways. Actually, I don't gain any points on Biffle. It was 300 coming in, 300 leaving, but we did still beat him. It's because he got the max bonus points with 10. I didn't lead a single lap in the race. Second time this season we didn't lead a single lap, but we still finished 4th. So, you know, even though it was on fuel mileage, without fuel mileage being the case, I probably would have finished about 7th or 8th. But hey, I'll take whatever I can get. Lost the spot on the last lap to Bobby Labonte, but ultimately I still gained positions by staying out on the racetrack again because I was running about 7th or 8th. So it was worth it. Kevin Harvick, 3rd. In points, Ryan Newman, 4th. Second win of the season, by the way, for Harvick. Redemption from Pocono after he was battling there late, finished 7th, but gets the win today, leading just over 40 laps. Newman's 4th in points. Dale Jr. has had 2 DNFs in the last couple races now, and he's back to 5th. He was 2nd in points there when we first got out of the Coke 600. I think he was still 2nd in points. So back-to-back DNFs, he drops down to 5th. You better be careful. I mean, he's still quite a ways ahead, but he's one more DNF from being right on the bubble. So, and we still got 11 races left until the chase. Bobby Labonte, great 3rd place finish for him. Johnson getting a top 10 and leading laps there definitely closed the gap. I think Jimmy was either 12th or 13th. After the last one, he's now up to 11th, but loses points to Labonte. Not many, but he lost some. Labonte didn't lead any laps, so it was good that he got a good finish. Jeff Green's right on the bubble still. Tony Stewart DNF tonight, so he's 12th. I think he was actually in the top 10, and not anymore. Kurt Busch, 1st, 2nd, last 2 races. Got the first win, got a runner-up today, and he's up to 14th. So he's closing the gap. Mark Martin DNF today. He loses points. Kyle Busch led a lap, but finished mid-pack. Yeah, Truex, who was a one-time winner this season. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season carries on. Again, Sonoma tomorrow night, full race, 110 laps, 6 p.m. Eastern start time for that. Be sure to tune in. And we will be live again the rest of the week. All 6 p.m. Eastern start times through Friday from today. So appreciate everybody watching. Have a good rest of your Monday night. Enjoy the Simpsons football game tonight. And I'll see you back better than ever tomorrow. Yeah, we may see chaos tomorrow. We have not had a road course race this season. I have no clue what kind of speed I'll have on a road course with Dave Blaney. You know, these longer straightaways kill us. I will say we'll probably be better at Sonoma than Watkins Glen because there aren't as many high on throttle points at Sonoma. A lot of long straightaways at Watkins Glen will probably kill us, so I think we could actually fare decent tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. Hope to see you again tomorrow night, everybody. Thanks for watching.